If your toddler understands everything you say but barely talks, if they point, grunt, or pull your hand instead of using words, or if you've started wondering, why isn't my child talking yet? Pause right here. Because what I'm about to share may feel uncomfortable at first, but it could completely change your child's speech trajectory. Most toddler speech delays are not caused by something missing in the child. They are caused by something happening around the child. And very often, they come from well-meaning parenting habits we were told were helpful. Today, we're talking about 6 common mistakes that can delay toddler speech, even in loving, attentive homes. These aren't extreme or neglectful behaviors. They're everyday interactions that quietly reduce a child's need to talk. And here's the good news. Once you understand what's happening, small changes can unlock language surprisingly fast. Let's start with the insight speech therapists repeat again and again. Children talk when their brain needs to talk. Language develops through motivation, not pressure. If a child's needs are met without words, the brain doesn't feel urgency to practice speech. This isn't laziness, it's efficiency. The brain always chooses the easiest path. The first mistake many parents make is anticipating their child's every need. You know the routine. Your toddler looks at the fridge and you already know they want milk. They point at the shelf and the snack appears. They whine slightly and you translate instantly. While this feels responsive and loving, it quietly removes the reason to speak. The brain learns, I don't need words. My parent understands me anyway. Over time, this delays expressive language because the child never has to practice it. The second mistake is doing all the talking. Many parents talk to their child constantly, but don't leave space for the child to talk back. Narrating everything, asking rapid-fire questions, filling silences. It feels stimulating, but it overwhelms the processing system. Toddlers need time to organize thoughts and attempt sounds. When adults dominate the conversation, children become listeners instead of participants. Language grows in back-and-forth exchanges, not monologues. Another common mistake is using long, complex sentences too early. Parents often think that more words mean better learning, but a toddler's brain can only hold so much language at once. When sentences are too long, the child's brain focuses on decoding instead of producing speech. Simple, short phrases matched to the child's level create clearer models and make imitation easier. Before we continue, if this already feels eye-opening, take a moment to like this video and leave a comment telling me how old your toddler is. And if you want deeper guidance, real-life examples, and early access to upcoming content, this channel also has a membership with 2 levels that unlock exclusive and preview materials for parents who want to support development intentionally. Make sure you're subscribed to the Parenting Blueprint so you don't miss what's coming next. Because speech doesn't grow through pressure or perfection. It grows when the environment gently invites it, and we're only just getting started. The fourth mistake that often slows down toddler speech is correcting pronunciation too quickly or too often. When a toddler finally attempts a word and hears, "No, say it like this," their brain doesn't hear helpful guidance, it hears interruption. At this stage, speech is fragile. Children are experimenting with sounds, mouth movements, and confidence all at once. When we correct instead of model, many toddlers simply stop trying. The brain decides it's safer to stay quiet than to risk being wrong. A more brain-friendly approach is to repeat the word correctly without demanding repetition. If your child says wah-wah for water, you can respond with, "Yes, water." This gives the brain a clean model without pressure. Over time, accuracy improves naturally as motor planning catches up with understanding. The fifth mistake is relying too heavily on toys and screens to teach language. Many toys promise speech development through buttons, songs, and flashing lights. Screens often claim to be educational, but language does not grow through passive exposure. It grows through interaction. When a toy does the talking, the child doesn't need to. The brain stays in receiving mode instead of producing mode. Screens are especially tricky. Even when toddlers repeat words from videos, this is often imitation without true communication. Real language requires turn-taking, eye contact, facial expression, and emotional feedback. A human response tells the brain, "My words matter." A screen cannot do that. Reducing screen time and increasing face-to-face interaction often leads to noticeable language changes within weeks. The sixth mistake is helping too much. This one surprises many parents because it comes from love. We jump in to zip jackets, finish puzzles, hand over toys, or solve small problems quickly. But when children are helped before they ask or attempt to communicate, they lose another reason to use words. Speech thrives when children need to communicate to get something done. This doesn't mean withholding support or creating frustration. It means waiting just long enough for your child to signal, gesture, or attempt a word before stepping in. That pause is powerful. It tells the brain, my actions and words have impact, and that realization fuels communication. When you look at all 6 mistakes together, a pattern emerges. Each one removes the need for speech. Anticipating needs, over-talking, complex language, correcting too fast, relying on screens, and helping too much all send the same message to the brain. Talking is optional. The brain listens carefully to that message. The solution is not drilling words or forcing repetition. The solution is changing the environment so language becomes useful again. Children talk when talking works. One small shift that unlocks speech for many toddlers is intentional waiting. Waiting before responding. Waiting before helping. Waiting after speaking. That silence gives the brain space to act. It creates opportunity. And opportunity is what speech development needs most. This approach also reduces pressure on parents. You don't need expensive programs or constant correction. You need awareness, patience, and consistency. Language grows in calm, responsive relationships. In the final part, we'll talk about one simple daily change that brings all of this together, and why it often leads to sudden language bursts when nothing else seemed to work. Because speech isn't missing, it's waiting for the right conditions. When you step back and look at toddler speech development through a brain-based lens, one truth becomes clear. Children don't talk because we teach them words. They talk because their environment gives them a reason to use them. Speech is a tool the brain develops when it's useful, rewarding, and emotionally safe. The most powerful change you can make is not saying more, correcting more, or pushing harder. It's creating intentional moments of need paired with emotional safety. This might mean pausing before handing over a snack, waiting expectantly after asking a simple question, offering choices instead of anticipating, or modeling short, clear language without pressure to repeat. These small changes tell the brain something important. Communication works here. It's also essential to release fear. Late talking does not mean late thinking. Many toddlers with strong comprehension and social engagement are simply efficient communicators. When their environment shifts, their language often explodes seemingly overnight. This doesn't happen because something suddenly clicks. It happens because the brain finally has motivation. That said, trust your instincts. If your child shows regression, poor comprehension, or limited social interaction, professional support is important. But for many families, the biggest barrier to speech is not a diagnosis. It's interaction patterns that unintentionally do too much for the child. Language development thrives on connection, not correction. Children need to feel safe to try, fail, and try again. Pressure shuts that process down. Curiosity opens it. As a parent, your role is not to perform therapy at home. It's to create an environment where communication is necessary, welcomed, and rewarded through connection. When you shift from how do I make my child talk to how do I invite communication, everything changes. If this video helped you see toddler speech in a new way, take a moment to like this video. Leave a comment, sharing your child's age or one small change you're going to try this week. And subscribe to the Parenting Blueprint for more science-based tools that support real-life development. Because speech doesn't grow through pressure, it grows through purpose. And sometimes, the smallest changes make the biggest difference.